the Prince has taken the bull. An amazing performance. He hits the finish.
On an afternoon in New York, the starting gate snaps open and the track turns into a moving wall of dirt. A chestnut horse glides toward the rail, that inside path closest to the fence, and the grandstand leans forward because something feels different. Ron Turcotte looks almost too small for the moment, a skinny jockey in a sport that can swallow men whole. Yet his hands stay quiet on the reins, his body still, his mind reading the pace like a clock. He does not wrestle the horse. He lets Secretariat settle, breathe, then take over when the race reaches its breaking point in the final stretch. What followed was not just winning, it was a season that rewrote the standard. Kentucky Derby, Preakness, Belmont, the Triple Crown, and a Belmont performance so fast and so dominant that the record has lived on for decades. People remember the margin growing, but the real mystery is simpler and harder to explain. How could a man built like an underdog guide a horse like that into a feat nobody has truly matched? And then, after the history, the story darkens. A sudden turn waits beyond the cheers, and it changes everything. Stay to the end to relive the extraordinary journey of two legends. Please subscribe and turn on notifications to support our team. Thank you very much. He did not grow up around trophies or velvet ropes. He grew up in rural New Brunswick, where winters were long and money was tight. He left school at 14 and went into the logging camps with his father. In a family with many mouths to feed, work came first, and pride came from showing up again tomorrow. That world teaches a lesson racing never explains to the public. A horse does not give you its best because you force it. It gives you its best when it trusts you, and trust is earned in quiet minutes, not in loud ones. His frame was light, narrow, not built for swinging an axe forever, so he followed the animals that already made sense to him. He drifted toward the racetrack life and started at the bottom, walking hot horses after training to cool them down, learning every mood shift in their eyes and ears. Later, he became an exercise rider, the person who gallops a horse in morning workouts before race day, when the track is still empty and honest. He learned how a thoroughbred breathes, how it relaxes, how it panics, and how it settles when a steady hand holds the reins. By the time he earned an apprentice license, he still looked like the skinny kid from the woods. The difference was that now his work had a finish line. A racetrack is a loud place, but real judgment happens in the barn. Trainers watch how you handle a nervous horse. Grooms notice if you respect the animal after the gallop is finished. Clockers record times, but the barn records habits. If your hands are rough, word travels. If you panic in tight space, word travels faster. He learned that a great ride is built long before race day. In morning works, you teach a young horse to relax, to switch leads cleanly, to accept another horse at its hip without losing its mind. You learn the difference between a horse that is tired and a horse that is scared. The right trainer can turn that work into a career. When he found a stable that valued patience and discipline, his skinny frame stopped being a weakness and became an advantage. He could sit still, stay balanced, and let speed unfold instead of forcing it. In a sport where a jockey can ride 10 races in a day and still be forgotten by Monday, one classic can turn you into a permanent name. When he won the Preakness Stakes in 1965, it was not just a trophy, it was proof that he could handle a big field, heavy pressure, and the kind of chaos that lives between the starting gate and the first turn. In those seconds after the break, there is no time to think in sentences. You feel the pace through the reins, you sense where the rail will close, you decide whether to save ground or stay wide for clean air. He made the right decisions at the right speed, and the industry noticed. That win did not make him famous forever. It made him trusted, and trust is what brings you the horses that can make history. Before the chestnut became a national obsession, he proved himself on another horse that demanded patience. Riva Ridge had speed, but he could be high-strung, the kind that wastes energy fighting the bit and looking for an escape. A rider can win with raw talent once. To win the biggest races, you have to settle the horse, which means slowing the mind before you ask for speed. In morning workouts, he learned how to keep that colt relaxed behind other horses, close enough to feel their pressure without panicking. He used a steady rein, a quiet seat, and the smallest signals, teaching the horse to switch leads, moving from one front leg to the other, so the stride stays smooth under pressure through the turn. On race day, that calm became a weapon. He saved ground, stayed out of trouble, and waited until the stretch when fear turns into fatigue for everyone else. When Riva Ridge won the Kentucky Derby and later the Belmont Stakes, it felt like a peak. In truth, it was rehearsal. The stable had found a rider who could shape nervous speed into championship pace. He had already learned what pressure feels like in a packed field and what patience looks like in a quiet barn. Then one morning, in the aisle of a top stable, he noticed a chestnut colt that did not act like a baby. The horse carried himself with a calm intelligence, as if he understood the routine before anyone explained it. The build was powerful, the neck arched, the eye alert but not fearful. Even standing still, the colt looked ready. Their bond did not start with a headline, it started with work. In morning workouts, he learned the colt's rhythm, how quickly he wanted to grab the bit, and how smoothly he could settle when the rider stayed quiet. He paid attention to small signals, ears flicking, breath changing, one extra step of energy that meant the horse was about to do too much too soon. He did not force speed, he shaped it. When the colt debuted on Independence Day in New York, he was not in the saddle because he had already committed to another mount. The colt lost that first start after trouble early, the kind of mess that can hide real talent. But the next time, he was back where he belonged. He rode the colt to a clean maiden win, meaning the horse finally broke through for his first victory. From that point on, they stopped looking like separate stars. They looked like partners. A great thoroughbred can win on talent. A great partnership wins on decisions. In 1973, he treated each classic not as a separate miracle, but as one long test of control. The Kentucky Derby is a stampede, 20 horses breaking at once, the first turn stealing space from anyone who hesitates. His job was to keep the colt out of trouble, save ground when it was safe, and never waste energy fighting the reins. When the moment came, he asked for acceleration, not chaos. The horse surged, switched leads cleanly, and the race was over before most riders understood it. 2 weeks later, the Preakness demanded something different. The pace turned strange, the rhythm broke, and the crowd argued about what they saw. What matters is what he did. He kept his horse engaged, kept him breathing, and delivered him to the wire with the smallest margin and the biggest message. This horse could win even when the trip was imperfect. Then came the Belmont Stakes, a 1.5 miles that exposes every weakness. Some riders wanted to slow the race down and turn it into a late sprint. He chose the opposite. He put the horse in position early, close to the rail, where he could see clean air and control the pace. The colt began to roll, not like a sprinter, but like a machine that never runs out of stride. Behind him, the field stretched and broke. People still talk about the margin, but the deeper truth is the ride. He did not chase records. He kept the horse comfortable, let him find his rhythm, and refused to interfere. That is how a skinny jockey helped create a record at Belmont that has never been surpassed, and a season that turned 2 partners into one legend. After 1973, the world kept moving. New horses came, new stakes, seasons arrived, and he kept doing what riders do, climbing into the saddle again and again, trusting instinct and balance more than luck. The public remembered the Triple Crown, but the daily reality of racing is repetition, risk, and split-second decisions made in a crowded run to the first turn. In the summer of 1978, that risk collected its payment. At Belmont Park, in the middle of an ordinary race, something went wrong in an instant. One moment you are managing pace and position. The next, you are on the ground, and the noise of the grandstand turns distant, like it belongs to someone else. The hardest part was not only the injury, it was the separation. A rider lives in motion. He measures his days in mounts, in gait breaks, in the feel of a horse changing leads under him. Suddenly, the sport that once gave him purpose could not be entered the same way. The legend did not end with a headline. It ended with silence, and a life that had to be rebuilt without speed, without the rail, and without the one place he always belonged. After the injury, he could not return to the saddle. Instead, he rebuilt his life step by step and stayed close to racing by, supporting injured riders and speaking for those who never got a second chance. The track had taken his speed, but it did not take his voice. His career still stands on its own. He finished with 3,032 wins, earned in every kind of trip a jockey can face, clean rides, tight traffic, and long afternoons that never make the highlights. The partnership he helped create in 1973 left a record that still holds. Secretariat's Belmont stakes time of 2 minutes and 24 seconds remains the standard. In 1979, the sport placed his name where only the rarest careers go, the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. If this story meant something to you, please subscribe and turn on notifications to support our team. Tell us which Secretariat moment you remember most.